What up, Eagles Nations? After a week hiatus, the squad is back. Here to talk some more Philadelphia Eagles with y'all. Of course, some big news. I think we all know QB1 got paid, but we definitely giving our thoughts on that. Top 10 LBs in the history of the franchise, as well as other news and breaking things that have happened in the world of the Philadelphia Eagles since the last show, as well as, we got a draft coming up day after the show next week. So it'll be a great time for us to, give some thoughts on different positions that we think we should draft and where we think the Eagles are sitting at right now. So, long story short, it's going to be an action-packed field show. Lots of things to talk about. So it's time to get to it. So we're going to bring in Wyatt. What's going on, Wyatt?
Not too much, man. Very hyped to talk about the big news of the week. Obviously, we weren't here last week, but I mean, we're going to be getting into everything Philadelphia Eagles, and I'm super excited as of right now, especially a week to go here till the draft. We got a lot to talk about.
That's for sure. So much happening, man. It's exciting. It's a great place to be. And the first thing we're going to do is drop a little something to get us hyped, and it's time to get into it.
The kick is away, and the kick it's good! And the Eagles win!
It's hard to come to South Philadelphia and leave here with a win. You just don't come to Philadelphia and leave here with a win.
Eagles fans everywhere, this is for you. Let the celebration begin.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And also on with us, interacting with the peoples, King DV. What's up, my guy?
What up, King DV?
Yes, sir. He's been dropping a few shorts, y'all. So if you haven't seen the replay, check him out, man. He's been dropping some good information. Opinions are opinions. You don't have to agree with everybody's opinions. I'm not saying that I don't. Just saying opinions. Good stuff, though. So, Wyatt, we got a lot happening, man. We got a lot happening.
Yes, sir.
So you know what? There's other news, but there's one thing that we really got to start off with. There's no need to
big news.
Yeah, there's no need to.
Everyone's been waiting for
anything, So Jalen Hurts gets the bag, man. What's your thoughts?
Man. It's great news because I mean, obviously, with everything going on with Lamar Jackson, who knows what's going to happen with him? Still waiting for Joe Burrow to get paid. Still waiting for Justin Herbert to get paid, even though he isn't on the level that Burrow or Hurts is. I mean, I think it's good we got how he got this deal done ahead of these other quarterbacks, or else we would be looking at a lot more. And the way that it's structured and the way that Howie worked his cap magic, where it's going to kind of increase over as the years go by, he worked his magic. And I mean, it seemed like Hurts worked with the front office as well to kind of free up as much money through those years as possible to help build the squad. That way he's not taking up a majority of that cap space. So, I mean, this is exactly what we were kind of hoping for. But at the same time, he is the, what is it? The highest paid player ever in the NFL now?
Per season, quote unquote, but that's a different story. We're going to welcome in Eagles Diva joining us tonight.
What's happening, Diva?
So, Diva, we were just discussing Jalen Hurts getting the bag. I know you have some thoughts on that, so feel free to elaborate.
I'm just happy he got paid. He deserves that well-deserved extension. We got him through 2028, and I'm just excited to see how much further he can grow in between time, and looking for a Super Bowl ring out of Mr. Hurts. I'm just happy he got paid, and we were able to get him paid and then keep what we need and also see what happens with this draft.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I myself am also very excited about this move. As Wyatt was talking about earlier, what excites me the most about it is the fact that it's still cap friendly, right? It's escalating, but he's still got the base salary that he was going to have for this season, but this is essentially an extension once this current contract ends. So this still gives us an opportunity this year to get some talent, maybe throw some front end, some guys, so that we can make some cap numbers work. But man, this is going to be big for us in the long run. This is going to be huge, and this was a deal that had to get done.
Yeah,
and I know it's not a Eagles thing, but because of this deal, now they've been forced to go back to Lamar and be like, all right, we got to get Lamar a couple more dollars, right? And some more guaranteed money.
Yeah, and it's the first no trade clause in Eagles history. So, I mean, this dude, he's locked in. And, I mean, it's not like we had to worry about with the other dude who we thought was going to be the franchise QB at one point, because we know the work ethic that Hurts has. We know even though he got the bag, he's still going to be the first one in, last one out every single day. I mean, they're already talking about he had like that procedure in February. That's not a big deal. He's just getting some hardware removed from his ankle. He's ready to go here come Monday when, like, you know, not the mandatory, but, you know, voluntary OTAs and everything happen. So he's going to be in there as well. I mean, this is perfect situation. We got him locked down long term, so he's just going to continue to grow and hopefully get us to some more Super Bowls.
You know, the best part about it is everybody's looking at the 255. It's 110 million guaranteed at signing, 179 million guaranteed over the life of the contract. You know, when we talk about a 255, you have to understand, for him to make 255, we would have to win the Super Bowl every year. He would have to be like the MVP of the regular season, Super Bowl every year. He'd have to lead the league rushing. I mean, not rushing, but passing yards. He'd have to be leader in touchdowns. There's so many things that would go into him getting the full amount. To me, those are vanity numbers. What I count is the guaranteed money. The guaranteed amount for this contract is great for most. And
179 mil.
Yeah, it's
guaranteed.
amazing. So this is very exciting. I'm glad that we have this popping. So we got a couple of comments here from King DB. He says Hurts went from adversity in college to can he pass the ball to MVP, should have been MVP, and now he's the highest paid from carriers in a Super Bowl, and it's only up to this point. Definitely, agree with that. King DV also says they gave Lamar a similar deal and he declined. 2019 MVP isn't the best argument for more money. We don't win big games. Well, they did give him another one, King DV, where they're guaranteeing 200. They're trying to guarantee 200 million in this other one. So we'll see. I mean, the thing is, he does have an MVP. Hurts doesn't have an MVP yet.
Yeah. He has an All-Pro, but he doesn't. Yeah, he doesn't have.
He doesn't have the MVP yet. So I think getting to the Super Bowl is great. He definitely should have been a Super Bowl MVP, no doubt about it to me. But hey, things work out. And we got Rod, our resident troll, good fella. Great seeing you podcast again. Cool. Appreciate that, Rod.
To add on what you're saying, though, that's an amazing thing to see as well, is how well he performed on the biggest stage in the NFL. So, I mean, if he can do it, and that's on that stage, he can do it anywhere. Yeah,
I definitely agree. I'm just excited to get back to work. I'm ready for the boys to get to work.
Yeah.
Everybody know I'm a Nuggets fan for basketball, so I'm kind of rocking with them a little bit right now because we strong. But hey, OTAs is about to start. Things about to start picking up. About to have more information about Eagles talk. We about to have
draft next week.
Yep. So we'll be talking some stuff about the draft. So for those that catch the replay, or you may hop out a little bit later, we'll say this again. But essentially, for this week, we're just going to really go over what we think position-wise the team should draft. And then next week, we'll go on some details about who we think the team should draft at our, maybe first, second round picks. After we'll look through all the picks, but maybe like first 2 rounds.
Yeah.
Obviously, the second round is a little tricky because you never know who is or who isn't going to be there. But, it's got to kind of float with it because somebody's going to be there that you don't think, because somebody's going to fly the boards, a la what people are talking about with Anthony Richardson. But we won't really know until we start seeing the actual draft. But that's why we don't worry about everybody else. Worry about the Eagles. All right, so Eagles, David, do you have any final thoughts that you want to give before we switch gears here, talking about QB1 getting that lovely bag and keeping it team friendly?
No, just glad we got it done. Now we can shut all the haters up.
Yes, sir. So King DV also says Hurts made players want to play for him. After the surgery in February, it fixed something that he played through since 2018. He will be protected even more with this big payday.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely big payday. Definitely, Getting the ankle cleaned up and getting everything good on that will help. Definitely a tough guy, real strong and powerful lower body. He's what you want in a quarterback. I mean, I've got the tape if I need to roll it, but I said back when he was drafted, he would be the best quarterback to come out. And like I said, a lot of people laughed, a lot of people mocked. Are he laughing still? I would say no.
No.
You know, as one of my favorite Eagles content creators always says, it's hurt season. Y'all know who I'm talking about.
Gotta wear that.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, I mean, the numbers are crazy too, because I mean, Adam Schefter posted like the year by year, like how it's going to affect the cap. I mean, like you mentioned, in 2023, you got like that 4th or 5th year on his deal, so it's only 6.15 mil. 2024, you only have 13 mil. 2025, 21, and then it goes up in 2026 to 31. So I mean, you're not even hitting what a lot of franchise QBs are hitting right now, like 31 per year type sort of thing. So I mean, you're going to be able to use that cap and do whatever you want with it over the next couple years. I mean, Devontae is going to be getting paid here in the next year or so, probably get him locked down sooner rather than later. But a majority of the big pieces we have are locked down in that time frame, so we don't have to worry about them.
Yeah, very excited about that, man. We're definitely going to talk about that a little bit later. But since we couldn't help but go ahead and get that out of the way, man, now we've got some other breaking Eagles news, and I'm sure Wyatt, as our resident breaking news guy, you're ready for us.
Yes, sir. I got a couple things here. Apparently, the Eagles have republished the opposition for the retro logo, which is the old, like the 80s into the 90s, you know, the old, like the bird with the football, like holding the football and everything. So that pretty much says that it's going to be used either on merchandise or on the new jerseys that are going to be going throughout this year, the Kelly Greens, which is interesting because the last time we used them, it didn't have that retro logo on them. It just had the shoulder stripes on them and the numbers. So I'm definitely eager to see what those new jerseys look like. My guess is they'll unveil them hopefully around draft time, maybe a little after the draft. But I'm sure we'll see them here sooner than later as well.
Yeah. So yeah, from what I read as well, they're supposed to be kind of like you said, they're using them for helmets, possibly on T-shirts, logos, and everything like that. That's essentially going to be like our alternate.
Yeah.
And let me go ahead and shout out Coach Dante. What up, Coach Dante?
What up, Dante?
Yes, sir. And then King DV also says, Coach Dante, what's good, my guy? Yeah, Coach Dante, man, he does some. Me and him have done, along with Key, we've done a couple of walkthroughs for some Eagles games and everything. So we're gonna definitely be doing some more next season. We might, pull in some other people, who knows? But great experience, man. Great way to just kind of get out there and talk about the team, kind of give your in-game thoughts on what's happening when it's happening. Sometimes it's very hilarious because you know how we do. But yeah, man. Any thoughts, Eagles Diva, on the logo change, or not necessarily change? Let me say that correctly, on the secondary logo, because last year we had the black helmet. That's going to be gone. That's going to be replaced by the Kelly Green. Hopefully, this one's going to have the logos on the helmet as well as on the uniforms. But we'll see. Any thoughts, Eagles Diva?
No, I'm just happy for that to be back because the only way you could find the old logo was like Mitchell and S gear.
Yeah,
it's a little pricey. But yeah, I'm glad it's back, and I'm glad that the Kelly Green is back because I like that old school logo. For sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the next thing I have here, and it kind of went a little under the radar today due to everything that was happening this week. Apparently, Jordan Mailata restructured his contract, which is going to free up some dough this year, but apparently it's going to free up more dough over the next couple years, more so than this year. But apparently that does put us around 20 mil in cap space, a little over 20 mil. So to free some cap space up, which, I mean, there's a lot of rumors going around. Maybe Buda Baker is interested to come into Philly, talking a video coming out. He's apparently a big fan of Nick Sirianni. I don't know.
And Jalen Hurts.
I'm very interested. And Jalen Hurts.
And there's another guy from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, a linebacker. I believe it goes by the name Levante David, if I'm remembering correctly, who also has requested to be traded. There's a lot of rumors that both of those guys want to come to the Eagles.
Mm-hmm. So, I mean, it seems now he's got another trick or two up his sleeve here, either come draft time or going into the season. But I could see another trade or two happening here.
All right, so King DV says y'all are very informative. I respect you guys. If y'all need a fourth, laugh out loud. Just kidding, but serious. Hey, King DV, anytime you want to hop on, bro, you know how to hit us up. You already know what it is. All right, he also says my lot of restructure is a future move for Howie. Dr. Strange.
Yeah,
bros.
man.
Definitely.
The cap wizard, man. I don't know how he does it.
And then also, go ahead, Eagles Diva, my bad.
I know he said that it was kind of kept up under the news, but it was big on Twitter. Like they were definitely shouting out that he reconstructed his contract, and that just goes to show you who really wants to be an Eagle, who wants to play as an Eagle, because you'll respect your contract and take less money.
Yeah, everyone wants to go all in and make another run.
Because the big thing is, if you're trying to get there, you know what you got to do, right? You have to be able to say, all right, I want to win more than I want an extra $1 million over 5 years. Or whatever it is. So some people do, some people don't. For those that don't, man, it's all good. It is what it is. I mean, everybody doesn't want to be there. Some people, the money is more important. And that's fine, because if that's what's more important to you, that's what's more important. Some people is winning because if you win, newsflash, you probably get more opportunities. You get more people checking you out, and you get the opportunity to get more money from other outside ventures. But, hey, it is what it is. Everybody don't have the same motivation, the same focus, the same thought process. But like you said, Eagles deal with the ones that want to be here, they're going to be here. The ones that don't, this year, next year, through in the middle of the season, they'll be gone, because it's not worth it to have those guys. Also, you may have going to talk about this, but we did sign a receiver. Thank goodness. Olamide Zaccheaus, who was I believe 4th in Atlanta.
He was like undrafted, wasn't he?
Yeah,
like when he came out.
Yep, he had a solid season last year as the 3rd or 4th receiving option.
I'm glad you said it, because I was gonna have a hard time pronouncing that name. I've been working on it, so I was like, "Oh, is he gonna say it?"
Yeah.
I didn't want to butcher it.
Yeah, I knew you probably were like, hold on.
I was like, wait a minute.
Yeah. I got some peoples in Atlanta, so I done heard the name before. So
okay.
Yeah.
I've been practicing, so I mean, I was gonna give it a shot, but hey, I've been practicing. I was like, I ain't gonna mess his name up.
No.
This is be elite. This is what we do.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, exactly.
Hey, so King DV says what I was about to say. Quez needs to watch out. He will be in a battle. Hey, I like Zaccheaus over Quez. I know some people online do not agree with my sentiment, and that's all good. Y'all have the right to have any opinion that you want. But Zaccheaus catches the ball. Zaccheaus don't drop the ball. Zaccheaus got size. You know what I'm saying? And he's a guy that on limited targets. I think he had 35 catches for like 350 yards or 450 or something like that. Last year I was reading over his stats earlier. So this is a guy that, you give him the ball, he's gonna make something happen with it. He's not number 1, he's not number 2, but he may be a great
like
guy.
14 yards per catch or something. It was something crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I mean, maybe I think they're also hoping that this maybe lights a fire under Quez. Like, listen, like this is it. Like you got to prove yourself here at camp or do something, or you gone.
We can do more than light a fire into Quez. Quez got to get his mind right.
Of trying to light fires. Like, didn't y'all learn with Nelson Aguilar and the one after that one? Come on now.
And the dude, what was his name? That went to the Dolphins and the Raiders. I forget his name.
Mac Hollins.
Yeah, that's it.
In Trashalar, then we just had Jalen Trasher. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like at some point, you just got to be like, look, man, we're going to rock with it.
Yeah.
I'm done.
Practice squad or you out. You cut.
Hopefully, Greg Ward gets elevated, because I like him as like a 4th, 5th receiver as well.
We know he'll catch the ball.
He knows how to run routes. He catches the ball. It's not the most athletic, doesn't have the most speed, but he reminds me of Jason Avant. He just gets the job done. You give him the ball, you give him that slot or somewhere where he's got a good matchup, he can get you some yards. He's gonna catch the ball. So
he knows how to turn back and go towards the ball and not go from the ball.
He also
he doesn't
knows how to
hesitate in the middle of his
grab the
routes.
ball
Right.
and not let the defensive player take the ball from him. So he also knows that.
Yeah.
He doesn't really fumble either. So these are all things that Quez has done. I think a lot of people
Stay down.
get tied up in right. They get tied up in the whole, Quez is fast and Quez is going to develop. Quez been in the league longer than Devontae Smith. Stop playing. What's the point where we start saying, like with some of these dudes that came in that draft specifically, there's a lot of guys that came in that just haven't performed. There's some who have, but there's a lot who haven't performed up to the standard. At what point do you start saying, y'all guys ain't performing? It's time to make new moves and bring in new blood. We're just gonna wait 4-5 years for a guy to maybe get better.
Yeah.
You can bring in somebody to draft that's gonna be just as good or better. Come on, man, let's get it. Stop playing.
Well, we know Devontae started working on his football career like a year or two before he even came out of college. So that's different. Like really worked on it, especially that one-handed catch.
Well, Quez, he got to want to work. And, I can't say that he's going to work or he's not going to work. Only he know that. But you're around Jalen Hurts, you're around A.J. Brown, you're around Devontae Smith, you're around Dallas Goedert, Stahl, all these guys that work, Tyreek Jackson, another guy that just works. Can't stay on the field because of injuries, but when he's out there, he's working. And the thing is, you're gonna step up or you're not. And Zacchaeus is the guy that's gonna come in and he won't snaps. He didn't come here to be the fourth receiver or the fifth receiver. You know what I'm saying? He came here to take somebody's spot. And Quez Watkins looks like that spot that he's aiming for and the reason why he's here. So if he takes it, more power to him. I wouldn't be mad. I like Zacchaeus. And when I saw he was a free agent, I was like, man, I wish we could just grab him as like a third or fourth. And it happened today. So excited about that as well.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm down to see how it works out.
All right, what other news you got for us? Well, I know you got some more.
That's actually the only stuff I had here, man. Unless you got something I'm missing.
I think on news we're pretty straight. Did want to also, of course, talk about trade rumors. We'll throw that under breaking news. Like we were just discussing in a little bit of detail. There's been at least
a lot of rumors going around.
Rumor. What are the rumors you've been hearing? Why?
I mean, the other one hasn't really been like a trade rumor. Is more so like maybe a possible cut rumor. Apparently, the Eagles, from what I've been seeing, may have an eye on old Dalvin Cook if he gets released by the Vikings. I've been seeing some other stuff about that.
I heard something about that.
Yeah, but more so like the rumors about like Budda Baker, and like you mentioned, Duda in Tampa Bay.
Levante David.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's a linebacker and a safety that would definitely, improve the roster. Not saying that we don't have good players now, but if you have the opportunity to go out and get guys who are proven, who are a little bit more ready to help you win right now, I don't have a problem with making those moves. And I think that's what we would be doing if we were, making these moves.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know too much about like the draft class because I don't follow college like too much, but apparently, like from what I'm seeing, it's not a very like safety or linebacker heavy draft or anything like that. So I could definitely see Howie going out and trying to fill those spots with free agents or trades.
And the thing too is, I'd rather, if we're being 100% honest, I'd rather Howie go out and trade the stuff because I feel better about how we going out and bringing in players than I do about how we draft them. I know people want to talk about the past year and blah, blah, blah. But we're talking about his cumulative efforts as a drafter. I'm not too confident in that.
Yeah. And also, like, it's nice to have, like, either a veteran or someone that's been in the league, knows what they're doing. You don't have to give them a year or two to, get acclimated to the NFL and get up to speed or anything. Like, you just, plug and play type of thing. You know what you're getting with a lot of these guys.
Right.
Yeah, definitely. So, there was a comment that I saw that I wanted us to kind of just, discuss a little bit here. Any thoughts you guys might have on it. So first I'm going to read the comment. I'm not going to read who it was from, but I'm going to read parts of it at a time. That way we kind of, talk about the different parts. So this is in the Eagles group. So the person says teams with top 10 picks stink or are rebuilding. We're neither, so draft the best player that can help us win a bowl now. Don't draft lanes or Slay replacement who won't start for 2 years. All right. Then they say, number one, they say draft behind Robinson, the running back from Alabama. Get the best running back in the draft, not the second best. Our offense will be elite. F what the league think about drafting a running back at 10. We're not rebuilding like we took McNabb over Ricky. Um, what's your guys' thoughts on that piece so far? Basically, we shouldn't draft another lineman that could play if someone gets hurt, or a cornerback who could learn under two of the best ever with our number 10 pick. We should instead draft behind Robinson, the running back from Alabama, who would automatically make our offense, quote unquote, elite.
I mean, I don't know if he would make it elite. I mean, because I feel like we already have an elite offense and we are really stacked at the court. I mean, at the running back position. But I think it's important to draft your linebacker and your corner because Slay and Lane aren't going to be there. Like Slay has 2 more years. Lane did 1 more, 2 more years. So eventually they're not going to be there and you're going to have to replace them. Why not replace them now and let them learn up under that core veteran line that they have so that they can be ready when it's time for them to come in? Then not. That makes no sense.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I'm more so leaning like you need to, take care of the holes you have now, whether it's I'm more so leaning toward like the actual not backup situation, like say if like Slay or Lane's out next couple years, more so like safety, linebacker, defensive end. Some of these pieces that we need now to help this defense going into next year. It would be nice to have an elite running back like that, but I mean, we picked up Penny, we have Boston, we have Gainwell, who had an amazing performance in the playoffs. I would feel more comfortable rolling with this running back group now and then get like a defensive end or get another big piece that can actually start on the defense than opposed, going out and getting, it's nice to have a flashy running back that'll get you like 1,000 yards or, but I mean, I don't know. I feel like there's bigger fish to fry as far as the rest of the team. Our offense, like Diva said, is pretty elite already.
Yeah, for me, you can't make a defense that's already elite. I am not for taking a running back in the top 10. I am not for that. I don't care if it's Bijan Robinson. I don't care who it is. The shelf life is just too short on running backs. We're seeing Derrick Henry slow down. We're seeing Ezekiel Elliott not even be nowhere near the player that he was. You see a lot of this. It's very important that we be smart. I think for me, there's only 2 positions I would draft with the number 10 pick: defensive line or wide receiver. And you may say, wide receiver? You just said we got a wide receiver. I did. But what if we go out and we get a wide receiver at 10, one of the better wide receivers in the draft, right? So we put out a 3-headed monster like the Cincinnati Bengals have, right? Where you got 3 guys that are solid 1s and 2s out there playing those 3 positions. You still got Zacchaeus. You still got some other guys, so you're able to rotate in guys. Someone gets hurt, you're now able to put other guys out there, and we have a lot more depth than we had this year wide receiver. So I was very concerned. Anybody got hurt at wide receiver, man, we were in trouble.
Mm-hmm.
We were bringing in guys from the practice squad that don't even play wide receiver. As far as cornerback, man, you can never have enough corners. You always have injuries. You always have guys that need to be worked in.
Or dudes are just buns on the roster already.
Yep. Right. So you can have a guy come in and maybe not be the starter right away, but be a guy that you can kind of put in situationally in both corner positions. So if Slade gets hurt, you need him to go in. He's kind of comfortable playing over there. Bradbury gets hurt or they're winded, they're gassed. We have a guy that you can rotate in. So I would go, if it was me, one of those 2 positions. Running back, I don't care if we don't draft a running back, to be honest with you, right? I don't care if we don't even draft one. I think we're fine with what we have for another year. Mm-hmm. We can look at a running back possibly next year. We'll have a late first-round pick and then, other picks or whatever. We could trade back from 10. If we really want Bijan Robinson, I would trade back to at least 14. I would go back to like 13, 14 and get some more compensation.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I would much rather, like you mentioned, get a wide receiver over a running back at 10.
I don't want a running back in the top 10 at all.
Yeah, I don't either. I mean, if you have a 3-headed monster there, a wide receiver, plus you have Dallas Goedert, I'm totally fine with running with Penny, Boston Scott, and Gainwell. You don't have much money in that running back, but you also have the best O-line in the league that they're running behind, and you have Jalen Hurts as well that can run the ball. So I mean, I feel like you got that covered. You pretty much have everybody you need. You can also call up Trey Sermon, who we keep talking about every week. Like, you have your options there. That way you can go and spend those picks elsewhere.
Yep.
Speaking of, King DV had a couple of questions.
So would y'all trade for Buda Baker or Devin White? I trade for both of them if we can fit them in a cap.
Mm-hmm.
I would trade for both of them. We could trade some pieces that we just got and say, look, appreciate you, but you know what I'm saying, or draft picks, depending on what packages they want for them would be important too. But for the right thing, I would trade for both or either. I guess I kind of answered the second question. What we give up? It all depends, man. I don't think you give up too much because these are guys that are going to be looking to get paid. Like Devontae Davis, I think he's in the last year of his rookie deal. So it's a guy you're going to have to pay. So when it's a guy that you have to pay immediately, you normally don't give up as much because you then got to turn around and invest the money, or you have another Chauncey Gardner-Johnson situation going on.
Yeah.
What are you guys' thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I don't see him giving up much for him, if anything. I mean, that's just not how we do things unless it's a huge player we're planning on keeping around and signing to that deal. I mean, it's not going to be a first or anything like that. The only way we're trading a first if we're trading back and getting more like picks, like you said before. Like, right. I don't see us giving up anything major for any of these guys.
Me either, at all.
Yep, and then he also says linebacker is a major. Oh, my bad. Yeah. All right, so this is how we may wait until next year with those comp picks. We may get a guard this year. Our O-line coach is also scouting. So we should be drafting a guard or a tackle every year.
Yeah.
Guys who we can train to play right and left guard, right and left tackle every year because, you know, you have injuries, you have guys miss games. Our line is stout because it's all pretty much veterans, right? But at some point, those guys are not going to be. We're going to know from year to year about Jason Kelce. So you got to start drafting guys to be the replacements, right? And it doesn't mean they have to take it over right away. And if the guy doesn't work out, you got time to figure out and bring another guy. So personal opinion, you know, obviously continue to draft those guys, at least one lineman every year on the offensive side of the ball and the defensive lineman. You should be drafting probably 2 defensive linemen every year just to see who works out.
Mm-hmm. And with Stoutland there and everything, I mean, they can find some diamonds in the rough. It doesn't have to be like high picks to get some of these O linemen or anything like that. They find a way to make it work.
And then King DV also says linebacker is a major issue because we need someone that can get to the QB, close holes, but also cover. So that's another piece.
Run.
A lot of people have talked about linebacker, right? But let's look at the actual linebackers as they're projected to be right now. So we have Nicholas Morrow, who we got from Chicago, who would right now be one of our starting linebackers. Obviously, Nakobe Dean, we drafted him last year. Mm-hmm. And then Hassan Reddick is our rusher, who basically plays one of the linebacker positions. So I think we kind of look at, we lost both of our starting linebackers from last year. One of them were going anyway because Nakobe Dean was taking one of their positions. Mm-hmm. Then we brought in Nicholas Morrow, who isn't a long-term fix more than likely because depending on what he wants to be paid, how he plays in defense, excuse me. But he's a guy who's going to be brought in to do what he needs to do. And I do feel like he's going to give us pretty much what we got last year, seeing how he's played, watching some tape on him and how we have now. Right. So I feel like a lot of people want to slide us at linebacker. Nakobe Dean should have been probably a first, no later than a second round pick. But the issues with this injury that didn't really happen, we were able to scoop him up in the 3rd round. We got a talent, a first round talent in the 3rd round. So I understand that that's a guy that has had a year to sit, played well when he got into the game. So I don't see any expectation of there being any drop off from last year to this year. And I think he can do everything as well at that.
And he's made the most out of the starts and plays that he's had over the course of that year.
Absolutely. So I mean, I don't see linebackers as big of an issue as a lot of people do, because I've been kind of not getting caught up in we don't have the same names that we had last year, but kind of watching what we're actually doing. Free agency has been really good to the Philadelphia Eagles. A lot of people don't realize it, maybe haven't paid attention, but free agency has been good to the Philadelphia Eagles as far as replenishing some things that we needed, and we still got the draft coming.
Yeah.
All right, so King DV asked me, and I'll ask you guys the same question. Are we willing to pay a running back $4 million that will increase in his rookie deal, or give Trey Sermon and Penny a chance? I mean, I'm all about giving Trey Sermon, Penny, Gainwell. I said give them all a chance, you know.
Yeah, especially behind this O-line.
Everybody, yeah. Put them all back there. Let's see what happens. And then another comment, and I'll let y'all take it away. Last 5 Super Bowl champs were running back by committee. When we won the Super Bowl, we were running back by committee.
Yeah, you don't have to invest in the running back to go out and win big. So,
I definitely would take Trey Sermon if we can ever get the man to start.
Yeah, and if Penny can stay healthy, he could be a beast on this squad.
If Rashard Penny stays healthy, he's getting paid by us next offseason.
And he's what we need.
He's exactly what we need. You put
easily
him with Gainwell
$1,000
and Sermon, and we get my guy Boston Scott getting some run, but also being a kick returner, which I loved him in that role last year. I mean, why do we need to draft a running back? Bijan Robinson could be a great running back in the NFL, but when that first contract is up, he's going to want to get paid.
We don't do that. We don't pay running backs.
That's why Miles Sanders isn't here. We don't do that.
Yeah, Nick said a lot of things about Trey Sermon, but you don't ever see the boy on film.
Yeah, Nick
exactly.
He said it all last year. I mean, I'm sick of Nick in that lip service. If he's not good, get rid of him. If he's good, then put him on the field. Shut up.
Simple.
I don't want to hear you sit there and talk about how great he is while he never plays.
Yeah.
Well, I'm just trying to figure out, when you knew Miles had a knee injury, why was the boy not like? I don't know. I can't make it make sense.
If he's not even seeing, if he's not even dressed for the game, there's something they're seeing that they don't like, that they don't want on the field, that they don't trust in him. There's something there that obviously they don't want to put out there. But yeah, obviously there's something going on with his game, or I don't know, something about him.
And tell the truth.
Same way with Jordan Howard was. There was something that went on with him for a year or two, and it's nobody knew. It was like a stinger, but nobody wanted him. He wasn't playing, but he was healthy, apparently. It's some of the stuff they keep under wraps. It's weird.
Well,
I like Jordan Howard.
I did too. Yeah.
Sure. So back to this comment. So another part was Carter and Anderson are good. They make our D-line better, but not significantly better. We're not going to be gangrene. We still have no safeties and linebackers. So, like I said, safety. We got Nakobe Dean, who's been on the team, has had a year to learn, right? And is ready to pop it in, ready to do his thing. Also, in linebacker, we have Nicholas Morrow, who, like I said, I think is going to be a good pickup for us. We talk about the offensive line. I think a lot of time we talk about guys and we feel like, oh, he should be this, he should be that. Everybody's not going to be a starter. Some dudes were brought in just to play a certain position, just to be a backup, just to do their thing. Right. So right now, as we stand, of course, Brandon Graham, Fletcher Cox, Milton Williams, and Josh Sweat are the starters. But behind them, you have Teron Jackson, Jordan Davis, Kentavious Street, and Derek Barnett. That's a decent lineup. Then behind them, you got some other guys. Some of those guys will probably be replaced or may end up on a practice squad. Yeah. But you have some guys. We talked about linebacker. You talk about safety. Terrell Edmonds from Pittsburgh. That's going to be a great guy to plug into this offense. Also, Justin Evans from New Orleans. You've got 2 guys at strong safety that we're bringing in that I think are going to be quality players at that position. Of course, at free safety, we know who the starter is. It's the same situation that we had at linebacker. Reed Blankenship balled out when he played last year. Reminded me a lot as far as the way he plays, not saying as talented, but reminded me a lot of Brian Dawkins, just the way he hits on the field. Obviously, a long way to go to even deserve that comparison from actual talent. But the way
I know
he
what
played,
you mean, though.
yeah, I really enjoyed watching that, and does hits, the big plays, had some interceptions when he had the opportunity, just did a little bit of everything. So while we don't have some of those names that you knew and loved from last year, we also have a new coaching staff, which means some things are probably going to change. We're probably out here getting guys that we feel like are going to fit better with the new coordinator, because guess what? He's not the same guy.
Right.
Yeah.
And he's probably going to be able to put them in position to make plays in big games, unlike Gannon.
Yeah.
No.
I mean, and so the big name players that you see, we'll see how Hargrave do over there. And we will see how CJ. Basically, Hargrave said the reason why he left is because they offered him more money than he couldn't turn down. So if they went,
you can't blame him.
An Eagle. I mean, you can't blame him. And CJ,
I love that we cleared up the cap space. To be honest with you, I liked Hargrave, but for what they paid him, I didn't like him that much.
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly. And I mean, I think if he's there, I think the Eagles are going to take Carter if he's available. I think they're end up going to get someone on the D line regardless. But I expect them to kind of either bring back Joseph or Ndamukong Suh at some point. I expect one of those guys to probably be back. Maybe Suh, because he has been hyping up Jalen still over the past weeks. So I mean, it seems like he really liked the organization and everything. Maybe getting Gannon out of there. Yeah, I would definitely bring him back because he's a little younger than Joseph. Joseph was really there just to kind of block the run a little bit, but I expect one of those guys to be back on a cheap deal.
Yep. So another thing they said was we can't, and I'm saying this specific person, but these are things I've been hearing from other fans as well. So this comment gave me a chance to kind of have them all in one place. Another one is we can't dominate with Gainwell and Scott. Too small. Penny always hurt. That means we're going to put Hurts at risk by running him too much. I think this person forgot all about the fact that we do have another back. And you may have forgot because you hear him talked about, but you never see him on the field, right? And we just talked about him. I think with Gainwell and Scott, they're good in certain situations. Scott has played like a pseudo goal line back, not the best situation for him. But with Hurts, who is that dual threat quarterback, that real dual threat, it allows him to kind of do a little bit of both. It allows him to be able to get some of those yards. It allows him to be able to catch the ball in the backfield as well, make plays, because you have to focus on Hurts as well. But I definitely don't agree with that comment. And then you throw in Trey Sermon as well, who was left out of this comment completely. I think we're good at running back by committee. If something happens and we have to bring somebody else in, so be it. But I think I would be fine with this foursome that we have, this fearsome foursome, if they use them all in a committee. And of course, Hurts is going to run the ball some as well. So I would be fine with that. Any other thoughts from you guys? And then we got one more point.
I mean, nah, I'm good.
I'm good. It just, I don't know, that it's just not a little ignorant in a way, but okay.
Yeah. I mean, you got. I know it's said all the time. You got to trust the process. They have a game plan in store of what they want to do, and I mean, I don't know, maybe they draft a running back. I don't think it's going to be high. I think they're going to maybe reach for one later in the later rounds if they draft a running back. But I think they're just going to roll with who they have now.
And then the last thing was, it said we can trade back to try and get behind, but that's a risk. Dallas can trade up and snatch him from us. So just take him at 10. We need an day one impact player. So the only part of this comment that I agree with is we need a day one impact player. But we needed that player to be on the other side of the ball. We talk about how much talent we lost. What I find all striking, in my opinion, is that as a fan base, we talk about how much we lost and how we need this and how we need that. But at the same time, we turn around and we say stuff like draft the running back at 10. Why? Why would we draft the running back at 10? I don't understand the concept, and I don't believe we will.
No. I don't think we're going to either.
I don't understand the concept either. Like, for what? You're gonna spend your draft pick on that when you could take it and use it those places when we're stacked. Like
cornerback, defensive line. I'm telling you, those are the two that we need. All right. So King DV says Miles didn't get re-signed because of the playoff run. He fumbled twice in the Super Bowl and a knee injury. Had my QB keeping the RPO and throwing. And then he says, Carter will make us better, and we are younger on the line besides Fletch. That line last year was the reason for interceptions and fumbles. Yeah, it definitely was. I think the problem with this King DV is that they're trying to insinuate that because we lost Hargrove and some other pieces that we're just not going to be as good. It's the scheme. You scheme to your players' strengths. We still have Reddick. So let's not forget, Reddick's still here. Let's not forget that. Yeah. Then, we still got
Bradbury.
We got some guys that can play. Reddick's going to always be a big rusher. He's always going to be a guy that's going to make a big difference in the rushing attacking the quarterback. So when we talk about we need a linebacker to attack the quarterback, we already actually have that in Hassan Reddick. That's what he does. That's his main thing. He can cover as well, but he's mainly a rusher. I think people sometimes forget, that we even have that there.
Oh, you got to forget about my boy Sweat now.
Yeah, and then Josh Sweat too. Yeah, King David says Josh. Yeah, talk about Josh Sweat a few minutes ago too. Yeah,
every year, getting better.
Balling. Like when he was not there, we really felt his pressure not being there.
Yeah, when he went out that game.
Then you got Maddox, but Maddox can't stay healthy. I love Maddox.
Yeah, I wish he could stay on the field.
All right, y'all. So it looks like we actually are going to be going over a little bit without doing it. So what we're going to do next week is we'll flip it. So next week we did talk a little bit about the draft, but next week we'll talk about what teams we want, as well as what positions we want, as well as players for our picks, assuming that there are no trades or anything like that happens between now and next week. If any trades happen, then of course we'll adjust for that. But for this week, we definitely cannot in the show. Cannot do that. Will not do that under any circumstances until we talk about our top 10. So this week, of course, our top 10 is linebackers. All right. So I don't remember who went first last time.
I don't remember.
So I'll just go first.
Okay.
All right, so at number 10, I have my guy Nigel Bradham. I love to say Nigel.
I do too. I got Nigel Bradham at 10.
Joined in 2016, 4 seasons after he had some seasons in Buffalo. 102 tackles, 10 tackles for loss, and 2 sacks in his first year. Next year, 8 passes defended, 88 tackles, and his touchdown won the Super Bowl. His long touchdown as the Eagle. Then in 2018, 97 tackles, 2 more sacks. 2019 season was cut short by injuries, and he's not playing for anybody now. But I think for what he did for us the years he was with us, he does sneak in there at number 10, especially since he was on the Super Bowl team.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, Diva, who you got at number 10?
I had Wayne Robertson at number 10.
Okay.
He played for the Eagles in 1954, and he had 4 interceptions, and he made his first Pro Bowl appearance.
Yep. Actually, I had him at number 9. We did draft him in the 8th round in 1952. He was a center and an outside linebacker, just for facts purposes. Interesting. He recovered at least 1 fumble his first 4 seasons with us. Had 4 interceptions while playing 12 games in 1954, like you were talking about, and made his first Pro Bowl. He made a second the next year in 55, and then he only played 11 games in 56, but that would be his last one with the Eagles. He didn't play a lot of years either, but I think impactfulness, kind of outweighs longevity.
Mm-hmm.
Who you got, Wyatt?
At number 9,
Yeah.
I got our old boy Michael Kendricks from that Super Bowl squad as well. Kind of similar to Nigel Bradham. He got drafted, came out, played really well, had a couple years of, having some injury history. And then that 2017 year happened. He actually played pretty well for us in that Super Bowl run. He did go off and play a couple years in Seattle. I don't believe he's still in the league, or at least he's not on a team as of right now. But he was a pretty solid piece of that defense on that Super Bowl run.
I had Nigel for number 9 for me.
All right. Well, I had Kendricks at number 8.
Yeah, me too.
Yep.
Okay.
That was my boy.
Yep. 2012, he had 75 tackles, total tackles, and a sack. 2013, 106 tackles, 4 fumble recoveries, 3 interceptions. He did so good, he got a shout out for Brianna on Twitter. Little football fact. He played great in the outside in the 3-4. Both years in the next 2 seasons, he had 80-plus tackles, 10 tackles for a loss, and 14. 13, he had, I think, 7 for a loss. Numbers kind of dropped off after injuries in 2016. Played well in 2017, and of course, the Super Bowl year. Signed with Seattle, played for 2 years. He got hurt last year in 49ers camp. He may or may not play somewhere this coming season. We'll see. Nowhere as of yet.
Okay. And we had number 8.
Yep.
I had old Jerry Robinson. Played from 79 to 84. 1 Pro Bowl, 3 All-Pro, and he was in that Dick Vermeil era.
That was a good era. I'm not going to lie. That was a good era. All right. So at number 7, I went with Byron Evans.
Same.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. I got Byron Evans there.
He played in that infamous body bag game.
Mm-hmm.
It was a body bag of a game. You hear me?
Was a monster. This dude. I mean, I ain't gonna go over the stats. You know what I'm saying? I'm just gonna say 89. 89 is the only year I'm gonna really go. But
that man didn't miss a game for 5 straight seasons.
Yes.
You hear me?
5
straight seasons.
5-game season at middle linebacker in the strike short 1988 season. He had an interception in 5 games.
Mm-hmm.
And he never played another game after he left the Eagles.
Never played another game.
He had 184 tackles in 89 and 3 fumble recoveries, 2 sacks, and 2 picks.
And it's sad they didn't really keep tackles they weren't formally kept before 94.
Mm-hmm.
So it could really have been more, But he had a 5-year run of triple-digit sacks. A lot of big names on those years. But he had 4 interceptions and 175 tackles in 92. Unheard of numbers.
Mm-hmm.
In 93, 94, he only played 21 games. Like you said, Eagles Diva, he just stopped playing football. So, monster when he played. But, a lot of those guys couldn't play as long back then. We talk about it all the time in other sports. Longevity that people have now, you couldn't have back in the day because you didn't have the same sports science, and the game was a lot different.
Honey, listen, it was dog fight out there. You hear me? Dog fight out there.
Wild West.
Yes.
Definitely.
All right, so at number 6.
We are
number 6.
At number 6, I have Maxie Bogan.
Yeah.
He was one of the best defenders in the 60s.
Mm-hmm.
Drafted in the 2nd round, 1960. He played for Georgia Tech in college.
And won the Southeastern Conference Lineman of the Year while he played for Georgia Tech.
Mm-hmm. He was also drafted in the AFL by Oakland, but he shunned them to come play for the Eagles. He was on the world title team, obviously, that year.
Mm-hmm.
Played all 12 games, had 3 interceptions. He made the Pro Bowl, and did every season he played but one in 1962. So every season of the 60s, except for 1962. He was in the Pro Bowl.
Damn.
Fire.
Obviously not as many numbers when you're older players because they didn't, keep all those things.
Mm-hmm.
But he officially recorded unofficially 6 sacks in 1964. And that was the only year he didn't have a pick. So he had a pick every other year, but 64. He was just a dominant player for the time on another championship team for us. And in my opinion, he should be in Canton. Right now, he's in our Hall of Fame for the Eagles, but I think he should be in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. But again, time he played hurts a lot of these guys.
Right.
All right, what you guys got at 6?
I had him at 6.
Okay.
He was white.
I had William Thomas at number 6. He was drafted in 1991. Ended up becoming he led the second most in sacks whenever he retired with us. But starting in 1993, played every single game for 4 straight seasons. He had 2 Pro Bowl seasons in a row, one of which he had 7 interceptions, which is crazy at the time for a linebacker. So I mean, he was a beast.
Yeah, and that defense in 91 was, in that time of that era was tremendously talented when he joined.
Yeah. And he played that whole decade from 91 through 99. And then he went to, I believe, Oakland in 2000.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Played 2 years with them. He ended his career with the second most sacks among Eagles players. I have him at 5, so
I do too.
Okay.
Yeah, continue the conversation.
Yeah. My number 5 was already talked about, was Maxie Bond.
Okay. 91 in the draft. The next year, 92, he had 94 tackles and 2 interceptions. And then in 93, he had 107 tackles and 6.5 sacks. Started every game from 1993 through the next 4 seasons. Every game 4 straight years. That's unheard of, in football at the linebacker position. This guy was just a monster. Made 2 Pro Bowls in 94 and 95. Like you said, he did play all of his games in the 90s with the Eagles. Then he went to the Oakland in 2000. So yeah, really great player. He should definitely be in your top 5. I feel like 5 or 6. In Eagles history. Just my thoughts. Just my thoughts. Who'd you have at number 5, Wyatt?
I had Maxie Bond.
Oh, you did say Maxie Bond. Yeah, you did say that. So at number 4, we're starting to get juicy. Got a guy that I love.
Jeremiah Trotter.
The Axeman.
So all of us probably got about the same list. We're getting his top few, I bet. But yeah, Jeremiah Trotter.
Yeah, I had him number 4 as well.
Eagles, aggressive leader.
Listen, that man had 123 tackles, 12 tackles for loss, 3 sacks, and pick 6. That man was, I'm telling you, that man was always all over the field. That was a big boy.
In 2000, he had 123 tackles, 12 for loss, 3 sacks, and a pick 6. Then he had 14 tackles for loss the next year, 3.5 in the 3rd season, while still eclipsing 100 tackles in both those years.
Listen, that's football, y'all. That's real football. That's how linemen are supposed to. Linebackers are supposed to play. You hear me?
Then he went to the Redskins and made it 2 seasons.
Well, when you go to the Redskins, you're going to die. That's the end of your career.
He did come back in 2004.
Yeah, for 2 years.
And he went to the Pro Bowl, actually.
Mm-hmm.
And, that was our Super Bowl year. 2005 was his last year. It wasn't a great year for the team, but he made the Pro Bowl with 102 tackles and 11 tackles for loss, 102 solo tackles. After 2006, in which he had 113 tackles, he left and went to Tampa Bay. So the reason I don't have him higher is because he kept leaving. You know what I'm saying? He just kept leaving.
Yeah.
So you gotta punch him a little bit for that.
Yeah.
All right, number 3.
All right, at 3, I got Bill Berge.
Yes, sir. So I have as well.
Yeah, he came in the mid-70s.
He had 5 picks, 3.5 sacks for his first Pro Bowl appearance, an All-Pro selection. He was also an All-Pro in '75 the next year.
6
with
fumble covers.
Yep. And he returned to the Pro Bowl 3 straight seasons, beginning in '76. Dude is a monster. And those weren't our best years either.
Yeah, multiple interceptions every season until 1979 from when he got with the team. His final season was the 1980 Super Bowl season. He started every game. So yeah, kind of tough, but did a lot for the team. Eagles Diva, who did you have?
Number 2.
And number 3.
Oh, I had the same person.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
So yeah, who you got at number 2?
Seth Joyner.
Absolutely.
Our one and only.
Yep, same.
Seth Joyner was.
He played with Reggie White.
Yes.
Okay. He played in not the Kelly green, but the darker green version that had the eagle that White was talking about earlier that should be back this year.
Yeah.
He played at University of Texas El Paso. UTEP. And for y'all that don't know, that's not a football school. It wasn't then either. He switched to left linebacker after his rookie year and became a major contributor. Definitely wasn't a right linebacker, which is why we tried to start him at. I'll let y'all get the stats, but I'm just going to simply say this. He was a member of the 20 sack, 20 interception club. He had 52.5 career sacks. Second all-time behind Ted Hendricks, who was a Rakers legend, but just all-time, like, you know what I'm saying, sacks at the time. Obviously, things have changed since then. He had 37 sacks as an Eagle. That puts him number 1 all-time Eagles linebackers.
Yep. Just close enough. He would be number 1, but there is one person.
One person
that stands alone.
He was the best.
By far.
By far, the best.
And
good old Chuck.
Yep, old Chuck Bednarik.
Yeah, old Chuck, that boy was crazy. You hear me?
Concrete Charlie.
Chuck was crazy. But he was tough.
Yeah. He knocked Frank Gifford out. Then he tackled Jim Taylor from Green Bay, and he just set on him to the clock and ran out in the championship game.
8 Pro Bowls and 6 All-Pros.
Yeah.
6 interceptions in 1953, a career high. Recovered 4 fumbles in 53 and 54. And he played all 3 linebacker positions in his tenure.
And he was violent.
Yeah.
He was violent.
Yeah, that was definitely a different time.
He would be suspended most of the time.
Listen, when you smoke a cigar and a cigarette at the same time.
I was going to say, that picture is legendary.
You smoke a cigar and a cigarette at the same time.
You know you a dog.
Yeah, you know you wild. But, you know, that's what you get when you're rocking with the Eagles. You just get some wild dudes. I mean, so, you know, every organization has them, but the Eagles seem to have a lot of guys that just have a lot of spunk to them, a lot of moxie. Very aggressive individuals, guys that just don't take no mess. It's one of the reasons I love the franchise, man. It's just what it is, right? We just
that's
who
the
we
fans
are.
too. It goes to the fans also.
Absolutely. I know I can count myself as one of those people. All right, so guys, we'll start with you, Wyatt. Any final thoughts? Obviously, we didn't really talk too much about the draft this week, but that's what next week's for. We're going to mainly focus on the draft. We won't do a top 10 next week. We're just going to spend our time talking about the draft, who we think the Eagles are going to take and why, and also, of course, any breaking news that happens, thoughts on where we sit before the draft, what things we need to improve for the draft. So we're just going to really dig into what the Eagles can do, in the draft next week. We may throw in a little bit of where we think that the top quarterbacks will go, those top, 2 or 3 guys, just, for a little bit of fun. But mainly, we are going to be talking draft prospects for our Philadelphia Eagles. What we need, what we have, a little more detail, and just getting it. So any last thoughts you got, Wyatt?
Not really, man. The only thing, I'm just glad we locked our QB1 down. It's Hurt season going forward here for the foreseeable future. Just looking forward to that draft, and who knows how he's cooking up there behind the scenes as far as like trades or, improving the roster even more.
You already know he's always looking. Always. That's what he does. All right, Eagles Diva, any last thoughts from you?
Just ready for this draft and see who we're going to draft.
Yeah.
Like I said, I'm glad that Hurts got that deal out the way, so we ain't got to worry about that. Yeah, I'm just ready. Oh, Philly said she couldn't make it tonight, and she sent her love, and she'll be back next week. But fly, Eagles, fly. Let's do it.
Yeah. Hashtag be elite.
Be elite.
You already know. My only final thought is appreciate everybody watches, everybody catches the replay. I know the NBA playoffs are on, so I get it. But I know our fam is going to hop on and check us out at some point. So y'all make sure y'all like if you haven't. Make sure you subscribe if you haven't. Make sure you tell 2 of your friends and 3 of your enemies, because just because they don't like you doesn't mean they won't like us.
Right on.
Let's build up this thing, man. Quick shout out note. We talked about it before, but this is the end of season 1. So for season 2, moving forward, we are actually going to be on the Shady Sports Network as well as our channel, so you still can find us here. But just an opportunity for us to, expand a little bit, help out, diehard Eagles fan as well, and just, get a new audience as well as bring you guys with us and just, have a wild ride, more fun, more Eagles talk, more debates, more interaction in our chat. So be prepared. See some differences. Not a lot, but you'll see some. But you'll still see us. And never know who else you might see. You know how we do. It's the Eagles Elite Podcast. Appreciate everyone that's watched us in this first 52 episodes. Much love. This is going to conclude this season. So you'll see season 2, episode 1, and moving forward for the next episodes. But nothing's changing. It's going to be better for y'all, for us, and more fun for us to have. So last shout out from this iteration. But we're going to have some fun. We're going to keep building. And appreciate all the interaction, all the love. And let's keep it moving.
The kick is away, and the kick it's gone! And the Eagles win!
It's hard to come to South Philadelphia and leave here with the win. You just don't come to Philadelphia and leave here with the win.
Eagles fans everywhere, this is for you. Let the celebration begin!